I'm going to be your therapist today. We're going to be doing a muscle tone assessment. So you had expressed to me that you've been having trouble going up and down the stairs, particularly in your hip region. So that's where we're going to be doing the assessment today. We're just going to check and see how stiff or relaxed your muscles are and how they react to different types of movement and different speeds of movement. So for the first part of this, you're just going to be hanging out and I'm going to be moving your leg. And then the second half of this, you're going to be actively moving your leg for me. And for part of this, I am going to have to palpate the muscle that does the moving, which is kind of up here, just so that I can feel if it's stiff or relaxed. So do you have any problem with that? Okay, do you have any questions about this assessment?
No.
May we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for the first part, I'm going to have you laying right on your right side, facing the wall. So I'm going to be standing behind you for support, and I'm going to ask that you keep your knees straight. So all I'm going to do is put my hand right on your hip to feel the muscle, and we're going to start with your hip bent up as high as possible, and we're just going to go nice and slow back. And if you have any pain, just let me know. So this time we're going to go a little bit faster. And then a little bit faster. Good job. You can relax. Okay, so this time we're going to go in sections. So we're going to start with your hip bent all the way up. And then I'm just going to move you to about here, nice and slow. And then a little bit faster. Good. And then we're going to do a different section here, nice and slow. And then a little bit faster. And then move back here. Good. So next we're going to be looking at your hip extensors. So for this, my hand is going to have to be on the back of your leg. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this time I'm going to place my hand right here. I'm still going to have you keep your knee as straight as possible. And then just relax your leg into my hand. We're going to start with your hip back as far as possible this time. And then we're going to come straight forward, nice and slow. And then we're going to move a little bit faster. And then a little faster. Good job. So next we're going to do parts just like the first time. Nice and slow. And then a little faster. Good. And then the second part. And then a little faster. And then the third part. Good job. Okay, Kristen, so the next part of this is going to be you moving your leg up and down, just like I did for you previously. So I'm still going to keep my hand right here. This time I'm going to ask that we're going to start your leg up as far as you can bend it. And then I ask that you move it all the way through, bring it back as far as you can. Good. Nice and slow. Bring it back up one more time. Good job. This time we're just going to pick up speed, so move a little bit faster. Good. And relax. This we're just going to do it in sections. So I'll show you the first section. You're just going to go just to about here, nice and slow, 2 times, and then we'll just pick up speed. Good. And then the second section is just going to be to here. Slow 2 times, and then pick up some speed. Good. A little bit faster. Good. And then the last part, bring your hip back as far as you can. Nice and slow. Good, and then a little bit faster. Good. And relax. So the second part of this, I'm still going to be putting my hand on your hip. We're just going to be doing the opposite. So we'll start with your hip back as far as possible, and then I'll have you bend it forward as far as possible by yourself. So start with it back as far as you can. Good. And then nice and slow. Good, and then a little bit faster. A little bit faster. Good. So we're going to be doing it in sections again also. So we'll start here and we'll go right to here. Nice and slow. A little bit faster. Good. So the second section we're going to start here and go to about here. Nice and slow. Pick up some speed. Good. And then the third section will start here and bend up as far as you can. And then a little bit faster. Good job. Okay, Kristen, so the second part of this assessment is going to be with your knee bent this time. So the first part, I'm going to be doing it all the work, so I'll just have you relax your leg into my hand, and I'll be moving your leg at different speeds, just like we were before. So I still have to keep your hand here. This time I'm just going to have you bend. Keep your knee bent. We'll start here. Bring it back. Good. And then we're going to go in sections. Good. So I'm just going to be doing the same thing, just the opposite. So I'm going to have to keep my hand on your hip here. We're going to start with your hip back as far as possible, and then we're going to move it forward. So we're still going to keep the knee bent. Nice and slow, and then we'll pick up some speed. And then we'll go in sections. Good job. Okay, Kristen, this time I'm going to ask that you do the moving of your leg. So I'll still be palpating your muscle here, feeling how stiff and relaxed it is. So we'll go through the full range. So I'll have you bend your knee up and bend your hip. Good. And then we'll just ask you bring your hip back as far as you can, nice and slow. Good. And then we'll pick up some speed. Good. So next, keep your knee bent. We're just going to do sections, just to about here. Nice and slow. And then pick up some speed. Good. So the next part, we'll start here, and we'll just bring your hip back a little bit more. And then we'll pick up some speed. Good. And then the last part, back as far as you can. Nice and slow first, and then pick up some speed. Good. So the last part of this is just the opposite that we've been doing. So you're still going to keep your knee bent. I'm still going to palpate your hip here. I'll have you bend your knee, bring your hip back as far as possible, and then bend your hip nice and slow. Good, and then just pick up some speed. Good. So we're going to do it in sections also. So we'll start with your hip back as far as possible, and then just to about here. Nice and slow a couple times, and then a little bit faster, and then a little bit faster. Good. So the next section is going to be from here to here. Good. And a little bit faster. Good. And then the last part is from here to bend as far as you can. Nice and slow a couple times. Good, and then a little bit faster. Good job, Kristen. So that completes our muscle tone assessment on the left-hand side. So all we have to do is the other leg.